Hello YouTube, back again. Sorry it's been like a week, but, actually, why should I be sorry it's been a week? I think that's that's usually a phrase most people would probably put out videos, but, yeah, it's been a while, sorry, I've been, stuck with my day-to-day life, so, but anyway, besides that, but usually I would do a film review, so I decided to do a television review, considering this was the series premiere of a new show that I was curious about, and I just saw it, and now let me give you my opinions on it. Now, let me just say right now, if I ever keep doing TV reviews, I'm just gonna say I'm never gonna give TV shows like a rating. I'll just say, like, just go off my reaction, like, how much I like this more than another one. So, besides that, so let's talk about that. I just watched the premiere of the new show, The Last Man on Earth. Now, this show, it's created by Phil Lord and Chris Miller who made the Lego Movie, a huge fan of that, like most people. And the show, what it's about the last man on Earth, played by Will Forte, whose character name is Phil Miller. See what they did there? See, took their first name and last name is crazy. That's actually a pretty clever inside joke, but, so yeah, a year ago, there's what's known as simply as the virus that seems to have wiped out most of the world's population, and has been spending the past year of his life traveling from state to state trying to find another human being, and his quest has been unsuccessful, so he decides to go back to his hometown of Tucson, Tucson, and he is now just basically just living his day-to-day life. He decides to move into the nicest house and just like fill it with all the souvenirs he got during his travels across our nation, which is one of the funnier jokes. Like, he grabbed things like the rug from the White House, like Hugh Hefner's pajamas, like famous art pieces like Picasso, like all the art jokes were actually all the famous art pieces there in the background. That was actually a pretty funny joke. So and so that's the rest of the show. And let me say right now, even if this show wasn't good, I do agree with most people. You must commend this show quite a bit for being a comedy about the end of days, because nowadays with television really likes its apocalypse stories. The fact that this is a comedy is amazing, because, like, let's take some of the huger ones. Like, there's like the Falling Skies. Yeah, there's like Falling Skies. And then there's like The Walking Dead, and like, The Walking Dead in particular, it is just the most miserable show ever made. It's just every character just walking around every episode, just kind of like, what's the point of living? Why? I hate life. Life is the worst. It's goddamn my society. That's a sense. Like, I like The Walking Dead, but there's only so much I've ever been able to take of The Walking Dead. Like, I've never been able to keep watching this show. I keep going on and off with watching it. There's only so much of just characters walking around looking miserable that you can take until it gets boring. And so on that grounds, though, considering the show is a comedy about the end of the world, that is quite a great idea. So good job for trying to tackle such a subject with a more lighthearted feel. And now the question is, did this show succeed? Is this a funny show going out the first 2 episodes? And all I can say is yes, this is a very, very funny show going out the first 2 episodes. Now, let's talk about it. Well, first let's talk about the lead. Will Forte as the last man on Earth. Will Forte, really like Will Forte. I thought he was really funny during his SNL days. Well, one of my more favorite cast members of recent years. I was very sad to see him go. And, of course, for those who've seen the movie Nebraska, I don't know if you guys, I don't know who's seen it, but I highly recommend it. Yeah, no, he showed in that movie. He definitely has some good dramatic element. He can actually do dramatic films very well. Like, I mean, dramatic, like being just kind of like the depressing straight man. And in that regard, he is fantastic in this show. He is just does such a great job of just being the common man who is, to his knowledge, is the last person alive, and he does a great job. Like, he is, it's funny, seeing him going through the motions. First he's just, going around the country, just, trying to find people. Then, he just decides to go back to his hometown, Tucson. And, then then he just basically just living his life, partying, just drinking alcohol like left and right. He even makes himself a margarita pool, which is a very funny image. I gotta say, that made me laugh really hard. But then of course, like how you would expect, is he starts falling into somewhat depression because he is the. It's basically, I think he said it's been 2 years since I've last seen a person. So, yeah, I will say this, the show, it never goes fully into dramatic, but there was one very touching scene in this show, during the, first episode, because they played the first 2 episodes back to back, and, the first episode, there was a very touching scene on his birthday when it showed kind of like a flashback. I gotta say, that was a very touching scene, and great job. Will Forte does a great job. Really funny, really great. Being the straight man. Good job, considering for the first episode, he's basically carrying it on his shoulders. Oh, spoiler alert. Okay, well, I have to go into something else. Okay, spoiler alert. It turns out he's not the last person on Earth. But really, for a show called The Last Man on Earth, did you really expect he would be the last person who has ever lived? On that note, so in the second episode, he ends up at the end of the first episode, beginning of the second episode, he ends up running into another human being, a woman called Carol, played by Kristen Schaal. Now, Kristen Schaal, you may know her. She was oh god, I just forgot her name. Was it Mavis? I don't know. The crazy fangirl from Play of the Conchords, and she's the voice of Mabel in Gravity Falls. Really funny comedian, really love her. Even though some people complain she's like always the same person. Yeah, she's always the same person, but she's so funny being that person. And it's just she just ends up being such a great loyal to Will Forte, because Will Forte is somewhat just like admitted defeat to a certain degree that like, look, I'm just gonna like survive day by day, just doing what I want, like, and just wait for death. Like, what's there really left to do in life anymore? But she is such a great foil, because she, like I said, she just plays the same part, and she is essentially just Mabel from Gravity Falls, just being a bottomless optimist, just getting a bottomless optimist that exists in her own little world, like kind of almost oblivious to a certain degree about how the world's population is like completely destroyed. And like there's like a great line when like her and Forte are just are driving through the town, and she gets really pissed off that he keeps going through stop signs without stopping. That was a great joke right there. That was very clever writing. And like I said, she is Mabel. She is like a nonstop optimist, and it is just such a, when you think about it, even though Mabel is like characters like Mabel are hilarious, just imagine being the last stuck as the last person on Earth with Mabel to the last, full your knowledge, like the only person you can talk to. So that was freaking hilarious. That was hilarious. That was inspired choice of actors to get for that part. So great job, hilarious, quite hilarious. Let me think. I'm sorry, it's a comedy. It's kind of hard to talk about unless it's like how are the jokes. That was great. There was a fantastic A+ stab at Castaway with Tom Hanks. There was an A+ stab that Will Forte makes a joke at the film's expense. Such a funny joke, such a funny reference to Castaway. So that was another great piece of writing. And like I said, sorry for spoiling that there was another person. Like I said, did you really expect anything more? And I know the show is trying to keep it hush-hush that other actors would show up besides Will Forte. But go on IMDb, you knew she was showing up. You know Jerry Jones from Mad Men is showing up at some point. I don't know how, it could be flashback or something else. Like, a third actor was in the first episode, but like not really in the way you would expect. So, like I said, like I said, like, you know, with a premise like this, he can't really be the last person. So, but all I can say is, considering the fact, like I said, in this day and age of TV, where the apocalypse means like most depressing and most like unoptimistic shows of all time, like, amazing that they went for a comedy, amazing that it works. Like I said, these 2 episodes were fantastically funny, and it's not just dark comedy. It's not just the comedy of just like how miserable this guy is and just how he bits his hand. There are jokes that come from it that are really funny, but it's not just that. It's also just really funny human dialogue, especially in the last scene. I'm not going to say what happens in the last scene of the second episode, but it's such a hilarious scene on the 2 actors' parts. I was cracking up. So. All I can say is, and I will say this though, I heard some critics say before this that like they liked the premiere, they thought it was a very good premiere, but they don't know how this show can keep going. Like how long can the show go? Like a show like this go with just this premise, and I would be lying if I'm not somewhat concerned about that myself. Like I thought these were 2 fantastic intro episodes. I don't know how the show can keep going though, but. Who knows? When I saw the premise of this show, I was kind of like, why? Like, that looks really bad and stupid. Like, I think that's gonna suck. But I thought this was a hilarious premiere, like I said. So, yeah. And for a quick side note, to a certain degree, for those, I kind of wish though they did Y, and I mean Y as in Y the Last Man on Earth. Whoever read that comic book series, it's great comics, if you want to read them. I kind of wish that they just got Will Forte to play the main character. I know fans of the series may say he's too old. After seeing this, he would be a great job at being like the last man on Earth, just being kind of like a likable, kind of like underachieving, just everyman. So all I can say is I honestly think if they ever want to do a Y, they should just grab this cast and just put them into Y, because that could be great. So like I said though, great premiere, great jokes, great performances, really good character work, I actually gotta say. Good with dramatic elements, but never went too far with it. And all I can say is, definitely well worth a watch. Go see it. It's going to be online tomorrow, so if you didn't watch it tonight, go watch it. And I'm excited, and even though, like I said, I am nervous for how long the show can go, I am very excited to see the 3rd episode next week. Definitely excited to see it. Definitely this 2 episodes have got me hooked enough to go back for the next week, so that's all I can say. See you next time, YouTube.